Welcome to the Real Healing Institute show. This is Michelle Sinclair. I am a spiritual teacher and healer. My teachings are based on the Christ letters. And so today we're going to start with something from the Christ letters. A cup of water handed to someone with love can bless and uplift that person, or if handed out with ill feeling, can make the recipient feel small and of no account, a little weaker, and more depressed. What part are you playing in your environment? What are you radiating to the world? So I'm going to say that again because I'm going to break this down. There's so much in this statement. It's not just as it seems. A cup of water handed to someone with love can bless and uplift that person, or if handed out with ill feeling, can make the recipient feel small and of no account, a little weaker, and more depressed. So when you think about, first of all, there's so much in here. Have you seen that Dr. Emoto water experiment where the intention is put into the water and it actually changes the molecular structure of it? So we know that intention actually changes what we would consider solid or physical structures. Intention actually changes it. So if you are very loving and you put this love in here, like, oh, this person's so thirsty, I want to give them this beautiful water to drink, here you go, and you give them this, they're receiving all the beautiful, wonderful things, the energy that you put in there. Now, let's say that you're like, I want to go get you a glass of water, and you go and you get them the glass of water. Well, think about the energy that is now put in that glass of water, and that person is consuming it. They're drinking it. You have given them this certain energy, and they are now the recipient of it. What happens to that person when they drink it? All of a sudden, let's say that it's the latter, and pretty soon they don't feel very good. They feel kind of drained, depleted. They don't feel so good, and they don't understand why. Because maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know that you didn't want to get them that glass of water. Maybe they didn't know. And so you subvertly hand this to them with your ill intent or your negative feelings, and they then consume it, and then it affects the physical body. So then what happens to you if you've done this? Think about karma and the electromagnetism that's at play in this situation. So if you were to give somebody something with ill will, not only is it going to affect that person, but through the magnetism, through the karmic play, the universal laws that bring order into chaos, electromagnetism, through this, it will return back to you. So you have not done this necessarily only to the other person, but you have also done it to yourself, because whatever harm is done will be returned back to you, amplified, because at first it was the intent, and then now whatever damage is done, that's excessive beyond what you put in there. This is now returned back to you. So you don't want this, but you don't do this. What you do is you hand your water to people with love, right? And so what could you do next time that you give somebody anything? It does not have to be water. It does not have to be something that they consume. It could be a piece of paper. It could be anything that you give to someone, because all things are the spirit. That's all that they are. And whatever you infuse in that will be received by the person that you're giving it to. So let's say you clean out your house and you're like, I'm going to donate all these things to Goodwill. What intent do you have in there? Do you have it of, I need to get this out of my house? That will be felt by the person who is receiving it. I know, right? Whereas if you donate it and you think, there's going to be so much good, I hope somebody really appreciates this, I love this thing, and you put some love and some blessing and some intention, thought, prayer into the items that you're donating, that they will bless whoever receives them. They will truly be blessed by it. And then what's going to happen to you? Well, not only did you get to feel amazing when you put that blessing in there, knowing that the person receiving it would get blessed, but whatever blessings do come to that person through magnetism will be returned back to you. Do you understand how beautiful this world is, and that when you give good, you get it back. Unless, of course, you expect to not. Then you will get what you expect, because it is your belief that underlies, that will dictate what it is that's returned back to you. What are you radiating in the world? What are you radiating in the world? So Jesus remembers how during a time of great stress, during his time in Palestine, he cursed a fig tree, and it shriveled to its roots. And not long afterwards, he was also roundly cursed by a Roman soldier and a Jewish priest alike. I too shriveled to my roots before I died on the cross, he said. Beware of what you hand out to others. Make certain that you would like to receive the same. Why did he curse the fig tree? Because the dude was hangry, and he was walking around, and he knew it wasn't fig season. And when he came up to the tree, he was so freaking hangry that he cursed it. And the next day, he goes out by it, and he sees that it had shriveled to his roots, and he brings his disciples, and he's like, dudes, like, look what I did. Never before had his words caused harm to anything. So when you think that you can just go around cursing people out, or being rude, or being mean, and that it won't come back to you, you are sorely mistaken. That will not be the case, but you don't do that, do you? You do good, and you speak good to people, so what do you get back? You get that same goodness back, don't you? This is the proof. This is the proof. Now let's say that you're like, no, actually that hasn't been the case for me. I always do good. Are you actually being honest with yourself? And maybe you are now, but what have you done in the past? If you were to search through your past, could you find a time when that was not the case and it's now being returned back to you? Because there is lag time in magnetism. This is just like in the Bible when he's like, in the beginning was the heavens and the earth, and it was spoken and it was created, and blah, blah, blah. And then it goes on to say, well, these things were created, but they did not yet exist. So it is telling you the process of creation that goes from consciousness to the spoken word, which is intent, spoken word. Then there's a lag time before you actually visibly see it pop up. This is like the blueberry seeds when I was up at the cabin. There was no actual seeds that I was spreading, but I'd be going for walks, and every day I would be throwing it out. Like, I imagined I had these seeds in my hand and I was spreading them along the path in this very particular place, because I would walk by it every day, and I would be spreading them. And I was like, oh man, there's going to be so many blueberries this year. There's going to be so many blueberries. You will see how many there are. There's going to be so many. And I went back a couple months later, and it was blue around this corner where I had been doing that this whole time. So we don't need actual seeds. Our seeds are consciousness with the spoken word. It's our intent and our belief that is behind them. These are the seeds that we're planting. But we plant seeds all day long with our thoughts and with our words. And we expect something negative to happen, or we fear that it will. We're planting those seeds, right? Because often people will even speak about it and say, well, I hope this doesn't happen. Well, the universe doesn't hear the doesn't part. It just hears the words that you've spoken, and it knows the frequency that you are at, and it believes that that is what you want. So if you say, I don't want this, what feeling is attached to that? That's what you're planting at that time. You're literally planting it through consciousness, through the seeds of consciousness. And what happens? Well, you planted that seed at that frequency. Is it going to grow up at a different frequency? That's not how it works. It's going to grow up at the exact same frequency that you planted it at. And so then this thing is going to come up ripe for harvest. It's like, see, I knew this was going to happen. And you're right, you did know, because intuitively you know how the universe operates. And you know that what you truly believe in becomes manifested, becomes real. So when I was a little kid, I would have this stuff happen all the time, right? I would believe that something was going to happen, and then it would happen. And it's because I believed it would be the case that it would happen. This is why. It's not because I was, foretold this thing or whatever happened to me. I mean, maybe there was a little bit of this, but not really. It was, I believed in certain things so strongly that I made them manifest. If you were to look at a certain area of your life that is just beautiful and flourishing and exactly as you want it to be, and if you were to truly examine your mind, you would see that it's because you believe in it, you believe it's possible, you believe you deserve it, you believe you're worthy of it. All of the things line up in that particular area. But then if you look at an area that's not so good, look at all the things that you believe about that. And you will notice that it holds a completely different frequency, totally different vibration than the other area that you feel is successful and how you want it to be. And the difference between these two outcomes in your life is the level of consciousness and the vibration and the frequency that you're emitting. This is what it is. So, if you have a cup of water, let's say you have some water next to you right now, put some blessings in there. What do you want in your water? You could even hold it up and you could even speak into it. And you could tell your water all the things that you love about yourself. You could speak into it all kinds of beautiful, wonderful things. And as you do this, as you drink this water, you are then consuming the intention that you have, and you will be as blessed by it as the words that you put into the cup. Fill up my cup. Let it overflow. Let it overflow with love. Or you could take your cup, which do not do this, and you could put those negative things that you've been thinking about yourself or whatever it happens to be into those cup, and then as you consume those, just think of the difference between the two. One you want to do and you know that it's good and you know that it will not only bless you but all, and one is negative and harmful and hurtful and will continue a recycled pattern over and over and over and over again. So sometimes people think, these tragic things happen to me all the time. And they're right, because they speak about them. They tell everybody about them. They're like, oh, do you want to hear my tragic story of the day? And then they tell their tragic story of the day. And what are they doing? They're back in that same vibration that they were in when the tragic story happened. They're now speaking and planting their words that will come up for harvest again in the future. And then they wonder why these things happen to them all the time, why these things happen to the people around them all the time. They are not only not blessing themselves, but they are not blessing their environment and all those who come into contact with them when they do this. Whereas you could break the pattern, that repeated pattern, and you could change it. And you could change the frequency and you could change the vibration. And you could say, there was things that happened to me, and those things allowed me to see how powerful my mind is, how powerful my consciousness is, and they allowed me to see how powerful the words that I speak are, because the things that I would think about and speak about kept happening over and over and over again. And when I finally realized that one day and thought, I don't want to do that not only to myself but to all of the people who I come into contact with, then they changed their vibration. And they began speaking into creation what it was that they truly, actually wanted. And by doing this, everything changed. Everything literally changed. Everything changed. Because then they're now speaking words of life. Life. Words that are life-giving into people, into their environment, into their world, into the visible matter that's all around them. And by doing this, the life that they experience changes drastically, because they are now planting new seeds. And what happens if you go out in your garden and you plant carrot seeds? Well, you're going to harvest carrots. But what happens if you go out and you plant lettuce seeds and you're like, lettuce came up. I was hoping carrots would come up. Like, what? That's not how it works. You know this. So remember this. Whatever it is that you want to grow, whatever it is that you want to harvest at some point, you need to be planting the appropriate seeds for that thing. You can't say, I want the joy, but never have any joy. because you'll never get it, because you're not planting the seeds of it. Now you might say, oh, well, how do I get there? How do I get there if I'm so angry, or if I have all these things and I can't be joyful? I can't be. Well, first of all, you need to examine your mind and you need to find the why. Why can't I? And oh, trust me, you'll have a list. You'll have a whole list. So you could do this. Here's a little experiment you could do. You could get a piece of paper and you could ask yourself, what is blocking me from this particular thing? And then close your eyes. And then all the things that come up, you can write them down. And then you can take them one by one to divine consciousness for relief. Ask for relief. Or you could go over to the Mental Cleanse series that I have here on YouTube. It's totally free. And you could work through the emotional baggage, turmoil that is present in your subconscious mind, in your soul, deep in there. And you could work through these things so that you could release them, so that you can get rid of all the things that are blocking your joy. Because I will tell you, the only thing that's actually blocking your joy is you. It's just you. But it's all the mental constrictions, all the things that you've put up, and more than likely they're all protective. They're all protective mechanisms. If I don't want to get hurt, maybe I don't want my joy to get taken away. So if I feel it now, what happens if somebody comes and takes me? There's all kinds of reasons. There's all kinds of endless, millions, billions of different reasons why people could block themselves from the divine, because that's all that it is, right? If you don't have the joy, it's because you're blocking the divine love that's flowing to you at every single moment, and you'll have a good reason. You'll be like, oh, because of this or because of that. But that good reason it's only a good reason to you. It's not actually a good reason. What it is an area for you to look at, to think, okay, I just need to heal this thing. I need to heal this thing. And as you can get into the growth mindset, what you realize about this is that in order to grow, it's basically just about letting things go. It's not implanting new things. It's not about the new habits. It's not about the this. It's not about the. It's about letting go of those things that have been harmful to you in the past, because they actually drain and take away your energy. And so when something's pulling on your energy, or when it's draining or taking away of your energy, then that thing cannot be connected to the divine truth. It can't be connected up to the love, to the source, which is where it's supposed to be. But we take this source energy and we're like, I'm going to give it to this person over here. I'm going to let them drain me a little bit. And I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to put it in this distraction or in this wasted time thing over here. And then pretty soon we're like, I don't know why I feel this way. Well, I'll tell you why you feel that way. It's because you're not plugged into the right outlet, right? The only place you should be plugged into is into the stream of divine love. And if you're plugged into anger or resentment or revenge or sadness or malice or spite or envy or greed or jealousy or whatever else, you're not plugged into the right source. And so then you're going to have a screwy outcome, right? Things aren't going to be clear. Like if you want to plug your TV into a cabbage, the TV's not going to work. That's basically what we're doing. We're plugging it into something that's not the place we're supposed to be plugged into. And so the results that we get are going to be ones that we don't really want. It's like, why can't I just feel this way? Why can't I just have all of this? Well, because you're not plugged into the right thing. The cord, it's right there, and you just got to plug it into the love. But because you're plugged into the anger or to the resentment or to whatever it is, you're not getting what it is that you want. You're getting what it is that you are. And when you get what it is that you are, if it's something you don't like, you're going to get it again, and you're going to be like, I don't like this. And then you've just planted the seed again. And then you're going to do it again, harvest it again, and you're like, I don't like this again. And you're going to plant the seed again, and you're going to drive yourself crazy, not knowing why it's happening when it's you that's been planting the seeds this whole entire time. It's like you're expecting a field of carrots, but you've just been planting cabbage and onions. You're like, why can't I get any carrots? Well, because you're not planting the right seeds. So ask yourself, here's another good exercise you could do. Ask yourself, go through your day and look at your day from like the start to the end. Okay, how many seeds am I planting that I actually want to harvest? And how many seeds have I planted that I don't want to harvest? And then when you find the ones that you don't want to harvest, what were they associated with? What were they about? What kind of thoughts were they? And then begin to eradicate them. Take them to the divine consciousness for healing, for help, for assistance, for love. And you will get what it is that you want. The results that you're looking for are connected to love. They're connected to the divine love. Every time. All the time, always. So, a cup of water handed to someone with love can bless and uplift a person. Or if handed out with ill feeling, can make the recipient feel small and of no account, a little weaker, and more depressed. So what is it that you are sending out? Because whatever you're sending out to others will be returned back to you. But what is it that you're sending to yourself? Because as soon as you love yourself properly, better, you're not going to be sending out negative things to other people. You wouldn't dream of it. When you're loving yourself properly, you wouldn't dream of it. So ask yourself, how can I love? How can I bless myself? How can I uplift myself better or more? And then do it. And by doing this, you will be blessing other people as well. It's not selfish. It is the most wonderful gift that you can give to other people, is to be the best, most uplifted, wonderful, happy version of yourself. Because then you are truly blessing everything in your environment. What are you radiating in your world? What part are you playing in your environment? I love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in here. Sorry I haven't been on here as much. We are so busy here, doing wonderful, amazing things. You can join me on a Christ Light Circle. We have them 5 days a week going on. You can hop on a Zoom. There's a link down below at the bottom of the description box that will show you how to get on there. It's all donation based. And you can come and be a part of whatever the circle is. There's there's energy that comes through, there's parables that come through, there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of insight. Basically, you get out of it what it is that you need. It's different every single time, depending on who shows up. The divine will let whatever needs to come through for that particular person, group, whoever it happens to be that shows up. So if that is something you are interested in, I do this with my beautiful, wonderful friend Alora here in Sedona, and you can hop on the link down below and join us in the next one, or whenever you feel called. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll see you next time.